All right, and we're live. Okay, everything seems to be a-okay. Do. Zaref, DSV, how's it going, guys? I'm gonna quickly start connections. Before we start, I have to watch the Witcher 4 trailer. I am so excited for it. Holy shit. Romero, how's it going, man? Oh, the fact that the trailer's coming out means my my goat, they're doing it. They're finally doing it. I can't wait. Oh god. Witcher 3 came out 10, 11 years ago. When did it come out? Witcher 3 release date. Yes. So DSV, the plan is at the very least, Easy and I plan on having another, hopefully, discussion on the weekend. We gotta obviously sort out timing and stuff, but hopefully we can do that again. And by then, I'd like to at least be on par with him. And at least for this week, I'll try that at the end of this week. We're in roughly the same place, like up or down a chapter or two is kind of whatever, but be in a similar place. That way, wow, the music's gotta be loud as fuck, eh? Sorry. Up or down one or two chapters so that we can like talk openly about like what we're thinking, and neither of us has to be like, hey, like, does he know about this or XY, like sort of censor ourselves. So that's the plan. And then going forward, we'll just put the fucking jets on, boys. That's dog shit. Okay, never mind. Devil, how's it going, man? Okay, I was thinking like chart, but that's 3 letters. Only I'm allowed to carry him. Okay. Okay. L. Okay, no, let's just use different letters so that I can figure out what's in this. M, L. Okay, M. Okay. So N, O, M, I. How's that? Okay. That's good information. So D, I, M, I. Okay, that's what I'm thinking offhand. Because D doesn't go there, N doesn't go there. N in the second letter, while possible, is hard. Use Armin and replace. Okay. Okay, so A. X M I N. Oh. Okay, fair enough. Okay. Good afternoon, Queen. How's it going? How you doing? It is afternoon. Yes, technically. Okay, we still got like 10 minutes. I'm gonna do connections, and then we're watching the Witcher 4 trailer, and then we're getting started, okay? Fuck, did they give us a date? Oh my god, I'm so excited. Oh, I have to watch State of Unreal now. Fuck, because I'm so curious what else came out or was announced. That's good. That's good to hear. Did you get some decent sleep, Queen? I know you have sleep problems generally. Showboat, grandstand, swell posture. Fuck. Swagger? Nice. Okay. Hunky dory, fine, okay, swell. Dope. I think that's good to hear. That's good to hear. Medicine, witchcraft, self-care, charm. Fuck. So these three sound fine. So law. Fuck. Okay. Looks very good. Graphics are amazing. Oh, I'm so excited to watch it. I love the Witcher series more than I can put in words. No, there wasn't a there was a state of not a state of play. Okay. Shall charm, medicine, law, self-care. Oh, fuck. Charm, friendship, ID 10. Oh, that's so stupid. Things you can practice: law, medicine, self-care, witchcraft. Fuck. Okay, I should have gotten that. Nightwalker, hey, how's it going, man? Okay, okay. We have like 10 minutes. Let's watch the state of play. I'm gonna spend like 20 minutes on this, by the way. You cooked in your previous stream. Thank you. We got a lot of very useful exposition. I'm gonna turn up the sound so that you guys can hopefully hear it a little bit better. If it gets too loud, let me know. I can obviously tune it down. It's only in 1080p, bro. What? That's cooked. Okay, whatever. I know 1080p in general is great, but like for a state of for a tech demo, that's like not that good.
The plowing plonker. Break me pearlies on this blasted pit-ridden tract. We've veered off dry road. Oi, the devil's out there! Just running from!
Oh, you don't want to go out there with Siri, bro. You'll get your ass kicked. Hey, Yark, how's it going, man? No worries at all, buddy. It's a shorter stream than normal. It's a 2-hour stream. I normally start 2 hours before this, but I just slept in. So 2 hours because then I have to go pick up my niece from school. Tech demos just show proof of yeah, exactly. It won't show any like game mechanics, or it won't even necessarily show what the game actually looks like. But nonetheless, for The Witcher, I will watch anything at all. Oh god. Oh. A wyvern? Basilisk. Something like that. It did show gameplay? What? Oh, that looks so good. What? That looks so much better than Witcher 3. Of course, it's been like fucking 10 years, but still. Oh, look at this thing. That looks menacing as fuck. It did show gameplay, not combat though? Okay, cool. That's awesome. Thanks, Code. That merchant is cooked. Siri. Oh, Siri, my goat.
Salt.
No, not you. Piss off.
Almost had me fooled, Fruin.
She looks so grown up. She looks so... Oh my god, hold up. You can't just end it there, bro. Look at this. Bro, get rid of this bullshit. What the fuck? You're blocking the view. Look at that. Looks so beautiful. This makes me think they're in the area where the oh my god, the Wolf School is, the Witcher Wolf School is. It reminds me very much of that area, like up north, super up north in the Witcher 3 games. Oh, it looks so good. I can't wait. Oh, wait. There's a 16-minute. There is! Oh my god!
This is a technological showcase set in the world of the
Okay, why am I buffering? What the fuck is happening here? Excuse me? In what universe am I streaming this and the stream ain't buffering but my fucking... What is happening?
just saw and are going to see now is running on a standard PlayStation 5 at 60 FPS with ray tracing.
Wait, PS5 60 FPS? Oh, with ray tracing. Okay, based.
So in the game, you'll be playing as Ciri, a professional monster slayer, a witcher. She explores the world and hunts down monsters for coin. The region we are in is called Kovir, and you'll get to explore it in the game.
Oh, we're in Kovir. Okay.
Right now, Ciri is investigating the monster, and after gathering new clues, she is heading back to a nearby village.
I mean, I doubt we'll watch all of it on stream, but I will watch all of it later.
All right, everyone, meet Kelpie.
Kelpie!
Let weeds be weeds, Kelpie.
So just like Geralt with Roach,
That's such a... That's so good! Ciri used to have is that what her... Because she didn't have a horse in Witcher 3. But there was something else that she used to call Kelpie. I can't remember what it was. It was told in the game. Oh, that's such a good callback.
own loyal companion.
We return to town.
These two characters need to feel like one. Since you're gonna explore the world on horseback, riding needs to feel seamless, natural, and just fun.
Yeah, and to support that, we're introducing multi-character motion matching in Unreal.
Multi-character motion matching. I don't even know what that would be in reference to. I don't even know what that would do.
So Ciri and Kelpie, they're perfectly synchronized when mounting from any angle and speed. And we also support
What?
root motion movement on Kelpie, so controlling her feels realistic and grounded. And there are also some really nice improvements to our Unreal Chaos Flesh Solver and these machine-learned deformations. So you've got realistic muscles moving.
Oh
stretching.
my god. If it looks anything like this, that is cool. Dude, do you see this? The
Kelpie's
horse...
skin without compromising the performance.
Like, even the midsection is, like, stretching and compressing it during different parts of the stride. Look at this. Let alone the leg muscles and everything.
there.
Holy shit.
So let's leave Ciri behind for a second and talk about the world itself.
Let's leave Siri behind. Fuck you, bitch.
So much of the Witcher world is
This is real
natural,
footage?
organic.
My heart.
Especially Kovir with its dense forest.
No, they did say that, Zareth, but, you know, I don't generally take them at their word. That being said, the studio that has done Witcher and Cyberpunk and stuff have an exceptional reputation in the industry. I can't. It's like they're based. I can't remember where, but like they're a smaller
Wild
studio. But
nature.
man, everything they do is just fucking goated. She did have a horse named Kelpie. Oh, okay, it might have been a horse. I can't remember. She had something, and she talked. It was in the Witcher 3. They were talking
and
about
wild
that she had like an
nature is
animal named
art.
Kelpie.
And with nanogeometry, we've freed artists from so many of their old constraints. But we don't want to rest until everything we do in Unreal has that same spirit.
Talk a little loud, like as in I'm too loud or I'm too quiet.
Of freedom. There's always more work to do, and foliage is a huge piece of that puzzle. So we are excited to introduce nanite foliage. And in order to achieve gorgeous foliage density everywhere...
Oh,
while
I'm
still
too quiet? Okay, well that can be fixed really easy.
being memory
Okay,
efficient,
so that should
fast
be a
to
lot
render,
better.
We believe that a new idea was needed.
That being said, obviously the background sound is obviously turned up a lot compared to normal. So in time it'll... CDPR doesn't have a great reputation after... that's not true, Khaled. And first of all, just as a general thing, don't ever shorten Cyberpunk to that. It just never works out. Um, they have a great reputation. Cyberpunk at launch wasn't great, but they spent years after making it way better for free. They didn't charge anything for it, but so like all the way like to Cyberpunk after 2.1 is like a brilliant game, and obviously the DLC was amazing too. They have a great reputation.
Artists should be free to take a nanite approach to foliage, modeling every single leaf and pine needle.
Finish what? Finish.
And the old
Okay,
LED
Kami.
tricks of the
All right.
past, they needed a complete rethink. And in their place, it's a new adaptive
Okay.
voxel
All right. All right. I'm gonna leave it there. I'm gonna watch all of it later on my own time. We're gonna be here for because this is an extra. This is an extra 14. Wait, city? Oh my God, we get. Okay, hold on. I'm sorry. I have to see this.
Hub for fishing, trade, and mining. It's one of those places where you can meet shady characters or overhear gossip from other lands. It's also where Ciri took on her current contract. High-tech, let's leave Kelpie here and explore the marketplace and food.
And the missus?
I'm so
Alright,
excited.
State of Unreal. Okay, I'm just gonna have to watch the whole fucking thing, aren't
Let's see
I?
what Vargas has to offer.
Bitch. Why are they spitting on Ciri? She's not even technically a Witcher because she never went through the Witcher trials. But you know, people be doing what people do, you know. All right. We'll leave it there. I will watch the rest of it at my own time. Okay, I'm not gonna make you guys watch it with me. If you guys are interested, if you guys want to watch it later, I will. I am happy to do like a Discord watch through live party on it, watch party on it. If you guys want, but I will just watch it later by myself. More for likely. I can play Stellar Blade demo on PC now. Nice. Okay, I've never played Stellar Blade. Just like I said, they're growing it back. The fans are still cautious. Maybe, but my understanding is that generally in the gaming community, they still have a pretty stellar reputation. She did go in the Witcher trials in the Witcher 4. How? Who even knows how to do them anymore? What? Okay. Justin, how's it going, man? Okay, let's get started. Just making some food. Nice. Okay, Backland, Cherwood Burrow. As the crimson glow faded from her eyes, Forrest saw the familiar desk and open notebook she had used to jot down her inspirations. To her, this experience was no longer anything new, but it still invoked reverence from the bottom of her heart. This was a power that didn't belong to humans, something that even demigods were incapable of. I'll receive the stomach pouch of a spirit eater in 2 days. My apprentice potion has already been digested. Finally, I'll become a trick master. I wonder what beyonder powers I'll receive. By advancing by my own abilities, teacher will definitely place greater importance on me. Apart from the potion formulas in the future, perhaps I might be provided with some beyonder ingredients. How I look forward to that very much. I don't even know the corresponding names of sequence 6 and 5. I only know sequence 7 is astrologer. Nagato, how's it going? I think I have astrologer in my notes, but I'm just going to quickly check it. Astrologer seems familiar, so I should have it. Shit. Yes, astrologer. Already have that. Yep. Oh, right, of course. Yeah, sorry. I turned up the sound for the demo. But okay, it should be back to normal now. If I'm still too quiet, let me know. Okay, I'm cleaning my room so I won't talk much. No worries, Nagato. Okay. After I become a trick master, I'll definitely write to teacher. Force felt like she was one step closer to ridding herself from the curse of the full moon. Bro, you're still really far though, Force. If the requirement is that you become a demigod, you becoming a sequence 8 is infinitely far away. Even Klein, who's a sequence 6, is like, fuck, I'm real far away from being a demigod. Also, I'll try to tell you this shit one final time. Yeah, please. At this moment, she heard the sound of hurried footsteps approaching. Finally, it turned into a slam of the door. Gio is out again. She's so busy, Forrest sighed silently. If not for the 400-pound debt that she owes the Viscount, she would probably be vacationing at Desi Bay right now. After a long period of hard work, thanks to the enhancement of her strength, certain tasks that were previously impossible for her to complete have become simple. Moreover, from time to time, Gio would receive small tasks that pay very well from the Masked Man. Gio has already raised her savings from £110 to 320, leaving her only £80 left to pay off her debt. In fact, I could spot her £80, but unfortunately, although she isn't tall, she has a lot of pride in her. Why do you have to add the although she isn't tall? What the fuck? Forrest withdrew her thoughts and thought about the matter that Mr. World had entrusted her. As a doctor and writer, she didn't know much about radios or anything about the entire field of machinery. She didn't usually pay much attention to such information when reading the newspapers, so she didn't know whether she could buy the kind of transceiver the world wanted. I finally got a notification. Hey, 20 minutes late, we take those username. All right, we're finally getting announcements at all. That's great, okay? A department store? They probably don't sell one. Oh, right. Avil writes science fiction, so he would know a lot about such matters. Forrest quickly found the right person to consult. Assassin have instigator... What? Assassin have instigator sequence, hunter have provoker sequence, assassin turn you into woman, and hunter turn you into... Yeah, I know that, Nagito. However, she quickly had a new problem. Was she to visit him directly, or was she to write him a letter of inquiry? Glancing at the chair covered in a thick, soft blanket and smelling the fragrance of coffee and tobacco emanating from the room, she felt a warmth slowly creeping through her body. Bit by bit, her motivation to leave the house crumbled. Milos, how's it going, man? I'm not familiar with him, so I shouldn't rashly pay him a visit. She sat down with a grunt and unfolded a piece of paper. In the Burge household in the City of Silver. By the way, I don't know. I keep going between Burge and Berg. Fuck me. Okay, so I'm gonna... Derek opened his eyes and woke up from feigning sleep. According to his plan, he would have immediately held a sacrificial ritual to send out the stomach pouch of Spirit Eater. However, the words of the Hanged Man reminded him to be more cautious and make more observations. I'll gather the ingredients Mr. Hangman requires first. Then I'll do a sacrificial ritual all at once. Derek remained silent for a few seconds. Then he attached his axe of hurricane to his body and headed for the steeple. Hard G in my opinion. I sent a lot of art, but this time not a lot of Gearman. Okay, cool. I don't know how much time we're gonna have for art at the end of the stream, because we should get done around like 3 o'clock my time, and then I need to go pick up my niece like relatively quickly afterwards. If that's the case and we don't have much time, then we'll do art. Then we'll do art all together at the end of today. Okay, or today's night stream. Promise. He first checked the things available for exchanging using merit points, but he wasn't in a hurry to complete the transaction. He planned to go to the underground market to take a look once the lightning in the sky subsided. Derek went up to the 3rd floor and headed straight for the library section that dealt with mythology and ancient classics, hungering for valuable information he hadn't learned yet. Suddenly, he saw a hard and yellowed book with a cover, Giant King's Court, a Book of Blackrock, hand-copied edition. Giant King's Court. This is what I've been saying for the longest time. I think the place above the gray fog is, because it constantly mentions that it's like the place of a giant or the home of a giant. So like it could have something to do with the gray fog. It's a record passed down from the Giant King's Court. I wonder if there's anything related to the Kings of Angels. Derek reached for the book, pulled it out, and saw that it was bound in a brown monster hide. At that moment, on the upper level of the library, Colin Iliad was wearing a flaxen-colored linen shirt and brown coat, standing there quietly, looking down. His unkempt, grizzled hair flailed in the breeze from the window, and his pale blue eyes were deep and reserved. Wednesday, January 12th, 5:40 p.m. The sky was dark and cloudy, the deep blue waves undulating across the sea. The white agate bobbed up and down in the storm like a toy in the palm of a giant. This is the sea. No matter how powerful one is, no matter one will appear insignificant in front of it. Dennett stood by the window and enjoyed the scenery outside. Fortunately, we're almost at the city of generosity. That is Bayam, right? Or Bayam? But Bayam is a country? From the speed, they left Bancy Harbor. The White Agate's journey had been smooth sailing. With the help of the wind, it reached at a stable speed of 15 knots. Hence, even though they arrived at Tiana port a little later than scheduled, they completed the entire journey a day early, a day and a half a day earlier. Good lord. That is to say, the White Agate was scheduled to arrive at the City of Generosity on the morning of the 13th. Instead, they arrived on the evening of the 12th. Bayam? Okay, thank you. Hearing Dannett's reflection, Klein just glanced up at him, then looked away and continued his contemplation. The more he played the part of Gehrman Sparrow, the more he had to force himself to behave in accordance with his persona. The more deeply he realized what kind of person he was. When faced with different situations, he realized that the choices he wanted to make were different from Gehrman's. For example, he would have responded to Dannett's by idly chatting with him about the weather at sea and the disasters caused by those terrible storms. But Gehrman wouldn't. He had to be cold and reserved. The more there are differences, the more I recognize myself, Klein sighed inwardly. That's good. That's what you... because I think that was like one of the key things, right? Like, you have to remember that you're just acting despite how often you're doing it or whatever. This was something he hadn't experienced when he moved with his identity as a private detective, Sherlock Moriarty. Back then, he didn't have to disguise his personality and had just been himself. This is good. It feels like I've digested my potion a little. However, Gehrman has traits that are similar to me. At the very least, when choosing to disembark and enter Bancy Harbor to save others, I overlapped with this identity of mine, and there was no difference. Is my internet bad, or is everyone's loading? On my side, it says everything is okay, Nightwalker. Let me know, though, if you guys are having some issues. At the very least, when choosing to disembark, I overlapped this identity with mine, and there was no difference. Of course, it could also be said that I was adding a certain kind of persona into the mix. Beneath Gehrman's gentleness and madness, he has a kind and brave, compassionate heart that values relationships. I can't boast about myself. Dancing to the Light, thanks for popping by. How you doing? Good morning to you as well. If I had known earlier that Bancy was Bincy, I would have most likely been terrified. Not necessarily. At the very least, the dangers which was divined was within acceptable range, Klein thought, summing up the things he had engaged in self-deprecation. This made him more aware of the problem. Although playing the role of a purely fictional character could help him digest the potion, he needed to replace an existing identity to speed up and improve his progress. He needed to gain the affirmation of people from the other people's interpersonal relationships, feel the corresponding emotions of joy, anger, sadness, and immersing himself in them, but not getting obsessed. Become anyone, but ultimately become yourself in the end? And get feedback from the people involved? Klein looked at the pale yellow carpet, his mind racing. Seeing Gehrman without a response, Dannett spread his hands helplessly, feeling bored out of his mind. This crazy guy is good in every other way than making me do what the servants do. There's only one thing. He doesn't like to talk. There's a communication barrier with him. If this goes on, I'll definitely go crazy. Fortunately, I'm finally at Bayam. I can finally be free. Dennis felt that he would sooner or later develop a habit of talking to himself when faced with a similar silence. After a while, Gearman looked up, smiled, and says, "You can tell me about the pirate point of contacts in Bayam." Dog shit. It's better if you don't say anything. Danitz's expression twisted. At 6:15, just before the storm arrived, the White Agate docked smoothly and arrived at the capital of the Rorstad archipelago, Bayam, the city of generosity. It was also known as the Spice Archipelago. It was the home to a variety of exotic spices, with the plantations of these produce being mainstays of the economy. Faceless digestion is really interesting. Yeah, because it's interesting because Klein is that's a cool thing that I wouldn't have thought of, right? Where Klein says like, while what I'm doing seems to be digesting the potion a little bit, I can't just make up a new identity. I need to step into an identity that already exists and get feedback from people involved. So that would look like presumably killing a person or kidnapping them and then becoming them and then getting feedback from people that person knows that like, hey, like something feels off about you or that you're fitting in correctly. Like either way, getting that feedback is what he's referencing, which is cool. Like I wouldn't have thought of that. I would have thought just faceless means like I can just make a new person and then be that. But apparently that doesn't work quite as well. The Blue Mountain Island where Bayam was located occupied more than half of the archipelago, which was mostly covered in forest. It had gold, silver, copper, coal, iron, and other minerals, as well as the plentiful variety of fruits due to the particularly fertile land. For these reasons, the first batch of colonists named the seaside city they built City of Generosity. They believed it was a land of treasure promised by the gods, where it flowed with milk and honey. Klein picked up his suitcase which Danitz packed and left room 312, entering the corridor that led to the deck. Without any surprises, he met Donna's family, Cleves, and others. The two siblings were still a little afraid of Klein after the fright he gave them. They hid behind their parents and the bodyguards and didn't dare to speak, appearing like deflated balloons. He really shouldn't have scared the kids like that. The kids were his biggest cheerleaders. That would probably work too. After all, every person has their own way of acting. That is true. I don't know. Like people have said this that like potion digestion is different for everyone, but I don't know what that's referencing. Is dancing to the light Dr. Z? Perchance. It is, yeah. Okay. At this moment, Erdy Branch hesitated for a second, then took a half step forward. "Mr. Sparrow, will you be staying in Bayam?" If I wish to hire... No. If I request for your help, how can I contact you? He's indeed a businessman. Even if he's afraid, he wishes to befriend someone with beyonder powers. Klein thought for a moment. What newspapers are in circulation here? The Sonia Morning Post and the news reporter popular in the archipelago, Erdy said. Put an advertisement in the Sonia Morning Post for 3 days in a row, asking to buy Demir's special cured meat, and leave an address. I'll go look for you. If I don't show up after 3 days, it means I'm at sea again. Klein was careful to give a one-way method of contact. Everyone's spirituality is different. Their morals are different, so the acting method should be different. Interesting. Okay, like I wouldn't have thought of that. That like the thing would be that the method would be different for everyone. That's cool. Erdy exhaled. All right. Cleves and the others expressed their gratitude once again and left the cabin in an orderly manner. Noticing the gangway in sight, Donna suddenly slowed her pace, stepped back to Klein, raised her face, and bit her lip. Uncle Sparrow, since Since that kind of power definitely brings about threats and madness, why did you choose to have it? She thought about this question for a long time before finally mustering the courage to ask. Klein was startled, and he instinctively formed a smile. For my dream. And then he lowered his voice and said, and protect. Protect. Donna mumbled the word in a slightly lost voice, picked up her pace and caught up with her parents. For a moment, the Branch family left the White Gate. Klein retracted his gaze and said to Danitz, "You're free." Huh? Danitz wasn't used to it. 5:18. Oh, is this referring to Danitz now, maybe? That's why other peoples don't share their own acting principles? Oh, because it'd be useless. I see. Okay. Without another word or care, Without another word or care for Danitz, Klein pressed his top hat and carried his suitcase down the gangway. Are you really gonna let me go? Danitz stood on the deck, his face filled with suspicion. See, Nagito, I'm much kinder. Become my follower. Although he had expected such an outcome, with Gehrman directly letting him go while in the Demir harbor, making him capable of imagining today's scene, he couldn't believe it. He felt that everything that befell him came too simply and easily. I'm worth 3,000 pounds. No, that's a bounty only offered by loan. And this madman, Gehrman. Isn't this madman Gehrman an adventurer? How can he let go of such a huge amount of money in front of him? It's incomprehensible. It's true that normal people can't understand the mindset of lunatics. Danitz gradually snapped back to his senses and with his luggage in hand decided to descend the gangway and step onto the concrete ground of the dock. But he straightened his back, lifted his head, and gave Gehrman's back a glance. He realized that he really wasn't turning back and followed his path straight to Coastal Street. Danitz didn't dare delay a second later. He immediately turned around and left through another path, occasionally changing directions and using obstacles to look back, to ensure he wasn't followed. Soon after, he arrived at a row of houses near the warehouse at the dock. Gehrman really didn't use me as bait. After triple checking, Danitz finally relaxed. At this moment, he felt like he was liberated. A dignified boatswain of a pirate admiral like him no longer had to be bullied and could no longer be ordered around like a servant. I doubt it, bitch. I think you're gonna go back to... I think Danitz is gonna stay with Gehrman for a long time, because I think he's... Good lord. Because I think he's needed. With Gehrman's persona being so serious, I think it's necessary that we have some comic relief, which is Danitz at this point. I can already foresee that tomorrow will be incomprehensibly beautiful. There will be a group of people vying to flatter me, wanting to become my servants. Danitz happily knocked on the door, 3 short and 3 long, rhythmically. Gehrman asked me to give him a pirate point of contact in Bayam. I obviously only told him the ones that don't have a good relationship with us. There's no way that he could guess that our golden dream point of contact is right here on the dock. Danitz picked up his nose and breathed in the fresh sea breeze before a looming rain. Bayam was a pivotal location of the Lone Kingdom's central Sonia Sea colonies. It was one of the largest cities in the region. There were many powerful official beyonders, and no matter how rampant the pirates were, they didn't dare to openly show their faces here. Most of the time, they had to rely on local gangs or people with backgrounds to handle the loot and purchase any necessities. Of course, this didn't mean that they wouldn't come to Bayam. The Red Theater here was one of the most famous brothels in the surrounding areas, and countless pirates came to patronize this famous place. Even if one or two of their peers were caught every once in a while, it didn't stop them from rushing over. In addition to the spice trade, the brothel industry was another major pillar of the Rorstad archipelago. Apart from the Red Theater, there were many small or big brothels out in the open or hidden all over the place. They fully satisfied the desires of the seamen with ample energy, and for the female pirates, they didn't have to worry about this problem. As long as they were willing, they could always be satisfied. After all, there was more demand than supply. At sea, where faith in the Lord of Storm was mainstream, there had always been few females. And it's the maid part of Gehrman's harem. True. Similarly, the underground trade related to the beyonder ingredients and mysticism was quite frequent here, and there were many circles. Those smaller ports are still better. We don't have to be afraid of being discovered at all, and we can just openly sit in a bar and engage in disputes. As long as we don't cause any trouble or cause any debts, the official beyonders will turn a blind eye. With their strengths, they typically have to take on a tremendous risk if they wish to interfere. Damn, being surrounded by storm believers? True. Give me 1 second, guys. Sorry. Okay. At that moment, he heard footsteps and saw the door open, and a familiar face entered his sight. "Old man, did he not drink today?" Danitz greeted. Standing at the door was one of the Golden Dream's contacts in the Rorstad archipelago, Old Rin. Old Rin coughed twice and made way. Danitz stepped into the dim room, his nose twitching. He caught a whiff of Lanty proof. No, Old Rin likes to drink locally produced Bayam Black Rand. As this thought flashed through his mind, Danitz was terrified. Immediately following that, he saw a man with his back to him rise to his feet. He was tall, dark, and muscular, and his hair was curled like marbles. Steel Mavetti? Danitz's pupils contracted sharply. This was the second mate of the Admiral of Blood, a great pirate with a bounty of 6,000 pounds. Okay, well, Klein might beat his ass and take him. Okay, those, check Discord, already saw it. Okay, there I fucking go. The sound, waves of the sea breeze blew, swaying the thin, sharp leaves of a tree in a precarious manner. Klein was walking along the coastal street at adequate speed. In contrast, the people around him were hurrying and walking quickly. His spiritual intuition told him that it would take some time before the storm would arrive, and he had plenty of time to find a hotel. The sound of the wind grew louder and louder. Good lord. Tree branches fell to the ground, and there weren't many people left on the street. Klein was about to turn into another alley when he heard the sound of hasty but disorderly running. Danitz was running with all his might, but the scene in front of him began to rock. He felt an abnormal pain from his wound as he felt his vitality rapidly sapping away. His spirit body had partially left his body, approaching the legendary underworld. As for the surrounding sounds, he could only vaguely hear them, and everything in his line of sight looked like it wasn't real. Should I put on some fight music now? Is there going to be a fight? If it wasn't for having Shadow Cloak, the ambush would have killed him. But even so, he was severely injured and could die on the streets at any moment. He was forced to run towards the coastal street because of his will to warn the captain that their point of contact had been compromised by the Admiral of Blood, as well as the glimmer of hope brought by that crazy but powerful figure. If it's him, then he would definitely be able to escape from the hands of Steel Mavetti's henchmen. Danitz began to stagger, but his body gradually grew cold. Just as he was about to collapse, he saw Gehrman standing by a street corner. His refined face that hid madness appeared so genial at that moment. Danitz fell on his back, his hands hanging limply over his chest, revealing a hideous, exaggerated wound inflicted to his organs. Tell Captain that old Rin has been discovered. Steel Mavetti did it for that treasure. Danitz saw Gehrman kneel to his side as he hurriedly spoke. Klein recalled the bounty offered for Steel Mavetti and asked in return, Admiral of Blood? Yes. Tell Captain. Tell the Captain. Danitz gasped as he said, and after saying that, he revealed a mournful smile. Don't worry about me. I'm about to die soon. Klein is just gonna move his injury to somewhere less vital, isn't he? Okay, hold on. There's a spider on my desk. I need to kill it. Fucking wait. God damn it. If it just stayed the fuck away from me, I was gonna let it live. But now it's just straight up right in front of me. This bitch. Okay, sorry. I used to be scared of them, Dr. Z, but then as I grew older, I'm not scared anymore, but like if it just sat at the side, I was going to let it live. Like I don't like killing it. But then it just came right in front of me. I was like, "Bitch, nah, you don't do that." Where is that? Spiders aren't that bad. Yeah, I agree. They used to really scare me when I was a kid. Okay. Tell the captain that all my money I've saved up has been turned into real estate. Units 12 through 16 on Bayam's Amarish Avenue. The title deeds are hidden in the wall of Unit 13's basement. Help me sell them. Take the money to South Intis's Alema town. Give the money to my parents. Say that I've really made a fortune. Bro is professionally ignoring my... Bro, I don't let it bite you and you will become Spider-Man. Oh, it's not radioactive, Nightwalker. The key thing that made Peter Parker Spider-Man was that the spider was radioactive. I doubt this one is. Oh, true. He's from Intis. Oh my god, he's a fucking degenerate. But no, he's kind of been okay. Danitz paused and then said with great difficulty, Say that I've become an outstanding adventurer. Also, help me say I'm sorry. His eyes suddenly became moist, as if he was recalling that rebellious youth from back then. I'm sorry, old man. Mom, I'm unable to come home. Danitz's vision darkened and he felt his life was coming to an end. At that moment, he saw that Gehrman reached out and press his hand to his wound and then swipe it. Danitz's sorrow suddenly came to a halt as he felt the already numb pain in his chest and abdomen disappear as his left hand seemed to suffer a fracture. He looked at Klein blankly, and Klein looked back at him quietly. No one spoke for 2 seconds. Finally, he looked down in astonishment and discovered that his lethal wound had strangely healed. His left arm was badly mutated, but even the bones protruded out. I'm fine now, Danitz blinked. Why didn't you treat me first? He asked. I was waiting for you to finish. That's basic courtesy. Klein is such a bitch. courtesy? You son of a bitch! I was saying my last words. With a sudden jerk of his back, Danitz rolled to his feet. He warily looked towards the dock, where a thick cloud of smoke was rising. It was none other than the result of the battle he had just engaged in. Because the house was set on fire by me, Steel Mavetti was afraid that it would catch the attention of the official Beyonders. As he was confused by that shadow, he didn't chase after me. Danitz instantly understood the sequence of events. Let's find a place to stay first. Klein spread his hands and caught a drop of rain. Not knowing whether or not he had completely escaped danger, Danitz immediately nodded. Okay. I can tell that Germet isn't afraid of Steel Mavetti at all. He isn't even afraid of Admiral Blood. At such times I admire his craziness. Damn, I exposed my wealth to him. Danitz just exhaled when his body froze. Klein walked silently ahead with his suitcase and cane and only had one thought echoing in his head. God damn it, a pirate is richer than I am. Well, Klein, he's invested his money. You just keep spending all of it on Beyonder ingredients, you dumb bitch. This guy is a sequence, in my mind, he's probably a sequence 7, but he also has property. So, you know, you should think about that next time. Get some advice from Audrey on how to invest it. Empress Burrow. Audrey, who was about to leave Backland, hid her chemistry laboratory and concocted the psychiatrist potion with the ingredients she received from the vampire. The fruit of the tree of elder, the blood of the mirror dragon, and the other ingredients she had already collected. Klein has the bike shares? Oh, true. Those might actually make him a lot of money. But although, doesn't he own just a very small amount of thing? A very small amount of shares at this point. Doesn't he own sub 10% or something? He sold almost all of his shares to the fucking tycoon or whatever. This time, she didn't get Susie to guard the door. Instead, she was to sit inside and observe the whole process from the sidelines. Earl Hall had already instructed everyone not to approach the young lady during her experiments, but they had to pay attention to any unusual changes. Audrey let out a small sigh of relief, pouring the completed potion into a prepared glass. The slightly golden liquid rippled like a deformed, gigantic pupil. Its gaze seemed to shine right into the eyes of anyone's heart. Susie, did you remember the process? You are a mature Beyonder. In the future, you'll have to learn how to concoct your own potions. How the fuck would Susie do that? She doesn't have thumbs. God. No, it's not that I'm not helping you. It's just that I'm pointing out a possibility. Sometimes I might not be by your side, and you just happen to need a potion bottle, Audrey said. Susie was so confused by what she was taught that she could only reply with a single word, woof. Converging her emotions, Audrey raised her head and downed the psychiatrist potion. Let's go! Okay, so now in the Tarot Club we have Sequence 6, Klein. Sequence almost 6, Alger. He's going to be Sequence 6 soon. Sequence 7, Audrey. Soon to be Sequence 7, Little Mr. Sun. Soon to be Sequence 8, Miss Fours. And then obviously Emlyn, but he's not a Beyonder, not really, and obviously the world is nothing. So, okay, they're definitely getting stronger, little by little, but they're getting stronger. People are moving up in the world. Yes, sir. Why was my same... Ramiro keeps deleting your messages, Nightwalker. Emlyn told Klein in the Harvest Church that an adult sanguine is equal to Sequence 7. That's true, but do you think he's as strong as Klein was as a magician? I sure don't. He would get his ass beat, so... By the way, Nagito, how is this pace? Okay, the golden liquid was cooling and refreshing, making Audrey feel as if she was enjoying a delicious ice cream. She then took a sip of the champagne. Tiny bubbles of air continuously rose, silently bursting as they brought a tingling sensation with them. Suddenly, her sense of hearing reached out, and she could hear the conversations of the two maids at the end of the corridor as they lamented how they had no chance of going to the Hall family's castle and manor in East Chester County. At that moment, Audrey felt as if she had dissolved into an illusory gas and was rapidly expanding. It would fill the entire room, overlapping with a sea formed from everyone's sea of consciousness. Her vision also changed. Everything in her mouth was abnormally smooth, turning into a glass that reflected her current appearance. Audrey doesn't actually know how to control herself and like align those circles or whatever in her eyes, right? Possessing a beauty that described as pure, exquisite, grand, witty, golden scales that were slowly growing out of her exposed skin. Her emerald green irises contracted and were dyed in a faint golden color, as if they had turned vertical. That's interesting. So when people lose control, they tend to lose control in a manner that's in line with their potions, eh? So when that bishop from the Church of Storm started losing control, he had tentacles coming out of him, like an octopus, because octopus, I don't know why an octopus, but it kind of lines up. Whereas when Audrey is about to lose control, that's what I assume this is, she started getting scales on her skin. Scales like a dragon. Interesting. Audrey suddenly felt fear from the bottom of her heart when she saw herself like this. She didn't want or wish to become an inhuman monster. With a hum, her mind began to turn into a blur, as if something was slowly and painfully drilling out from the surface of her body. Just then, she heard a gentle voice of her golden retriever, Susie. Don't be afraid. Calm down. Don't be afraid. Calm down. Wait, To Your Eternity ended? Holy shit. Oh, I've only seen the anime. I haven't read the manga, but oh my god, that's awesome. Audrey recovered her thoughts and tried to calm herself, and tried to get herself into a spectator state. Her undulating emotions quickly calmed down, and her spirit seemed to leave her body. I used to be a weekly manga reader, and her spirit seemed to leave her body. She then looked down at herself like a spectator. Audrey saw the golden scales on the surface of her body visibly recede, and her emerald-like eyes return to normal. It didn't take her long to regain control of her body and understand what beyond her powers were available to a psychiatrist and how to use them. It was so dangerous just now. Audrey raised her hand in fear. Her skin was fair and delicate, completely unlike the abnormal condition she had been in just a few moments ago. Don't forget to promote Discord. I just need 10 more people to become mod. True, Nagito. So we're gonna do. I think we already talked about this. We'll do a vote. There'll be 2 new mods. There's like 3 or 4 people in contention at the moment. And then 2 of those 4, 2 of those 3 or 4 become mods. So yeah, make some friends, Nagito. Make some friends. Make some alliances. A democracy on Discord. What a glorious day. The ones that come to mind. Dr. Z, it'll be on Discord, and then on YouTube, we'll start rotating mods. So there won't be so many. Don't promote Discord. No one should join. It's 1984. Bro, username. Literally, none of that happens on my Discord. The only thing you don't like is Milosh. That's hardly 1984. After this incident, she truly understood how terrifying the danger of losing control, which Mr. Fool would occasionally bring up, was. She even gained an understanding of how difficult it was to go down the Beyonder path. Even with the acting method, it was impossible to completely remove the latent method. It did. Milos deleted his promise. Yes. So, Ramiro, the candidates, I think, are DSV is definitely one of the top ones. We can put forward Nagito since he's insistent. That's fine. And then there's like 2 or 3 more, and then we'll. Justin, probably, I think, if he's interested. These are the 3 that immediately come to mind. The gaslight is dimming and the year is 1984. Bro, username. The only thing the fact that he didn't keep his promise is hardly 1984. I don't think Vec wants to be on. Okay. Okay, we can ask him. Obviously, if he doesn't want to, then no point. At one gathering, Mr. World said that Beyonders are a bunch of miserable wretches that are constantly fighting against threats and madness. Previously, I could only understand it literally. Now, I can feel the weight behind this sentence. Audrey, don't be discouraged and don't be afraid. Mother, father, brothers are still waiting for your protection. With this experience, you won't be frightened by yourself in the future or so easily lose control. She calmed down for 2 seconds, walked up to Susie, and hugged her dog. Thank you. Thank you. Susie rubbed against her twice and asked, Audrey, how is it being a psychiatrist? I like it very much. Audrey was suddenly at a loss on whether to cry or laugh. She immediately pursed her lips and said, Susie, we'll treat each other in the future, okay? Psychological problems. Okay, woof, Susie answered. It seems only now with Audrey truly recovering that she was in a mood to examine her own advancement. It seems my body has become healthier. Obviously, I don't have any obvious muscles, but my strength and speed have become much stronger than before. Oh, that is good. She does get some physical enhancements. Thank God. My eyesight has also improved. I can even clearly see items hidden in the dark. My sense of smell is able to distinguish even more subtle smells, and thus being able to grasp a target's true emotions and thoughts. I finally have Beyonder powers in the truest sense of the word. Oh, and Nightwalker, if you're interested, Nightwalker. They'll I can target a person or I finally have yes, and there's also awe. I can target a single person or apply to a group within a certain range. They'll instantly panic and turn chaotic as though they're facing a dragon. Whoa. Another is frenzy. It will trigger the emotions and mental state of a target, throwing the target into frenzy. They'll suffer intense psychological damage and might even cause direct loss of control at times. Being a mod on Discord, Nightwalker. Another is psychological. Although the truth of the matter is, I don't even know if we need more mods. That's the actual answer. That's the actual thing. I know I said we'll do it at 100, but like I don't know if it's even necessary. I don't think we need it, honestly. Yeah. And you'll lose your morals. I'm not online on Discord much. Okay, fair enough. So it's confirmed that spectator is equal to dragons. Yes, that part is known. Spectator comes from the King of Dragons, Ankh-Vault. Stranger danger? Stranger dagger? Frenzy is the power Klein used on the bishop and he lost control on the spot. Oh, true. Another is psychological cue. Through specific methods, words, and a medium, I can cue a target, letting them abide by my arrangements without them realizing it. Another is placate, also known as psychoanalysis. I can help Beyonders on the brink of losing control to regain their reason and escape danger. Oh, that's really good. There's a certain chance of failure. The higher my sequence, the more easily it will succeed. It can calm down various psychological instabilities and allow for communication. Oh, that is actually really good. Another is telepathy. Through mediums like candlelight and extracts, it will put the target in a particularly hypnotic state. I'll then be able to directly communicate with their body of heart and mind, just like what Hilbert Alucard did for me. If not for the protection provided by Mr. Fool's angel, then I wouldn't have the means to lie under such situations. Yes, I'll have to be on guard against such techniques. I can't be fooled by a target. There should be quite a number of means to achieve this effect. Together with placate and telepathy, together with certain psychological knowledge, I'll be able to act as a true psychiatrist, one that can, the kind that can open a clinic. Audrey's mood rapidly improved as she said, I'm a mid-sequence beyonder. There really is a qualitative change. She stood up, lifted her skirt, and walked briskly in a circle. She quickly discovered that she was still lacking in direct offensive capabilities as a psychiatrist. Fortunately, I have this. She stopped in front of an experiment table and opened a brown box. Inside was a silver mask that only covers half her face. It was the mystical item that the hanged man had sold her. Audrey picked it up and observed it for a few seconds. She then extended her spirituality and projected her thoughts like how she did above the grey fog. She saw the silver mask begin to warp inwards, turning into a hollow, finely patterned, slightly large earring. It might be better to turn into a necklace, Audrey whispered. After that, she tried out various abilities of the item. She was most satisfied with the ability to fine-tune her appearance. God, people are, she's so... Audrey, Audrey, don't be so shallow. It's a pity that other than the flame controlling, it doesn't have any more direct offensive powers. Perhaps I'll need to prepare a revolver, one that has Beyonder effects. Audrey, that doesn't sound like you. She quickly collected her emotions and said to the mystical item in her hand, From today, your name is Lie, the most beautiful lie. I watched a 3-hour Lord of the Mysteries reaction for the 6th time. I'm now a changed man. What? City of Generosity, Bayam, 48 Acid Lemon Street, Wind of Azure Inn. It was raining heavily outside, and the wind was raging, and inside the luxurious suite, the fireplace was warm and the environment rather peaceful. Klein sat in a chair and happily watched silently as Blazing Danitz dealt with a severe fracture on his arm. He waited for Danitz to finish up binding his arm before asking, what treasure? According to Danitz, it was because of the treasure that the Admiral of Blood Seigneur wanted to deal with the Vice Admiral Edwina Edwards. The sounds of the wind and rain came through the window. Danitz took a sip of the Lanty-proof on the table and gave an angry, bitter laugh. Those assholes who had their brains eaten by zombies. On our last expedition, we found a sunken ship. Although we didn't find anything of great value, we discovered a gigantic black iron key that didn't look like the kind used by humans. Can you imagine? After being submerged under the sea for so many years, it didn't rust at all? Yes. In a world where extraordinary and mystery intertwined, what wasn't possible? There were people who could be resurrected from the dead, not to mention others. Perhaps there's a traitor amongst us and the news has spread. Countless pirates believe this is Death's key, a key that can open a treasure trove Death left behind. Klein needs to get that and then get that over to Isaac. Oh my god. I thought that this problem would be cleared up quickly and happily applied for a vacation. In the end, the matter became more and more complicated. Even the Admiral of Blood has joined the ranks of these mad pirates. Even I'm beginning to suspect that it's a Death's key. A key that can turn one into a true god. Foolish. Whether it was in the divination domain or dealing with deities, he could be considered experienced. Thus, he had his own understanding in the interpretation of Death's key. He believed the key was a form of revelation, a symbol. The thing that opened Death's treasure trove was probably not in the shape of a key, but some kind of characteristic, or bloodline, or even certain specified people and their descendants. True. So if like Isaac, a son of Death, touched the key, he might get access to some cool shit. Danitz was startled and then exclaimed, "Your words are the same as the captain's previous comments, and even your expressions are the same." She suspects that the key belongs to an older era, an era not of humans. Before the cataclysm, the world was full of giants, dragons, elves, and demonic wolves. The shape of the key directly points to one of them. Demonic wolves. Klein suddenly recalled the ravings he heard in the past. In it, the Flagrea he heard was referring to the ancient's god, Annihilation Demonic Wolf. A treasure that involves the second epoch. He held out his curiosity and switched, before calmly saying, "Write everything down that the Admiral of Blood has done, including Steel Mavetti and his men." He remembered that the Admiral of Blood and his pirate crew were the most notorious group on the ocean. Their hands were stained with the blood as they committed many heinous acts. How could I remember? They aren't beauties like the captain. I can only list the most important things and some bits of detail that left an impression on me. Wait, what do you want? Bit by bit, Klein revealed a smile, one that gave Danitz a fright, and said in a deep voice, "If it's appropriate, I want to hunt them." The hunters become the hunted. That is from Solo Leveling, so get mad at me if you want, but it's rather fitting in this scenario, okay? Um, 520. Well, I know it from Solo Leveling, so get fucked, Kami. I know it's not from Solo Leveling. I have read Hunt them, Danitz asked subconsciously. When he truly understood the meaning of Gehrman's words, he became excited. "Is there anything I can help you with?" As a qualified part-time pirate, he had nothing to do with the beautiful words such as tolerance, compassion, and love. Since he nearly died at the hands of Steel Mavetti, and he had now his chance to take revenge, he definitely wouldn't miss it. Dude, if Klein could even get Steel Mavetti, that'd be 6,000 pounds. That'd be damn near enough money to be set for the Sequence 5 potion. Whoa, okay. He believed that he could survive in the pirate industry by relying on an accurate grasp of the situation, knowing when to resist and when to fight for his life, and when to feign ignorance and when to settle old scores. Now this was an opportunity. Danitz still couldn't make an accurate judgment of how powerful Gehrman was, but judging from how he had decided to take care of the fallen bishop within 10 seconds, it was unlikely that it'd be too difficult for him to deal with Steel Mavetti. Even if he encountered the Admiral of Blood, it wasn't impossible for him to win. I don't think he could beat the Admiral right now. Lyola, how's it going? I sent you the doc for the novel. Thank you, Nagito. Yes, Devil did send it to me too. I will read both yours and usernames, and I'll give you guys feedback on the next stream at night, okay? You can get the bounty and all. Oh, true, because it's dead or alive, so you can kill him, get the characteristic, which is already worth like a couple £1,000, and then turn them in. So like just from killing the Steel Mavetti guy, he could probably make like near 10 grand. Of course, this isn't a one-on-one situation, and pirates never talk about chivalry, Dennett's thought to himself. Klein leaned forward and said, "I've told you." What? Dennett's was often unable to keep up with Gehrman's train of thought. With regard to this, he could only console himself that a normal person and a madman were quite different. Seeing that the other party had stopped talking, he thought for a while and suddenly remembered what to do. Write everything that Admiral of Blood and his pirate crew had done. Gehrman wants to know how many things they've plundered. Dennett's quickly gathered his thoughts and scribbled a hunk of text. During this process, he was exceptionally glad that his left arm was injured. When he was done writing, Klein reached out for it and read it carefully and confirmed that the undetailed parts of Dennett's description and that the Blood Admiral was the most typical and vile pirate. Not only did he plunder, he also abducted and slaughtered people, crew members, and abused women. A pirate like Dennett's actually knows how to write ancient Fasak? He has been educated, Klein thought to himself, and did a divination to confirm the authenticity of the material. He then said, "Tell me about the Admiral of Blood and his men. He needs more detailed information to hunt them." Dennett's was delighted. Admiral of Blood Senor is suspected to be an evil spirit. Evil spirit. He could just be a wraith. Like Sharon. Either they strangle themselves to death, blow their mouths up, hug bombs, or slaughter their companions. Captain said that it's the possession of an evil spirit. It's similar to Miss Sharon's beyond her powers. Wraith! Oh, I'm so smart! Senor can make a terrible shriek. The last time I fought him, I was nearly knocked unconscious and fell on the deck into the sea. I returned the favor and set one of their boats on fire. I'm just, once it's done talking about all of it, I'll just copy paste all of it into one place, Romero. Give me a second. Senor knows a lot of undead magic. Cruel, bloodthirsty, and full of desire. That shriek is the Wraith Shriek, I think it's called? Or something like that. The shriek that humans can't hear, or whatever. Cruel, bloodthirsty, and full of desire. His targets can either be male or female, or even humanoid creatures. Consistent with the unrestrained nature of the Rose School of Thought, yes. Accurately speaking, it's a trait of the prisoner pathway. Shriek like Klein can do as a wraith, exactly, yep. The highest possibility is that he's a wraith, Klein nodded, thoughtfully. In response, Dennett's became more active and spoke faster. Our captain thinks that the Senor has a very powerful mystical item on him, one that makes him very lucky. He always seems to gain the favor of the gods. For example, at a critical moment, his opponent would suddenly slip or have their powers fail. Another example is winning 21 bets in a row. A mystical item that can make one lucky. That is very rare. Is it from the monster pathway or connected to some evil spirit? So basically, whenever the Senor needs to, he hits a nat 20. If shit's hitting the fan, he can hit a nat 20 basically. I've never directly fought Senor, so that's all I know. Dennett's wanted to throw up his hands, but he was stopped by the pain in his left arm. He has about 7 or 8 ships. His flagship is the Tree of Flesh and Blood. That's different from us. We mainly seek out treasure and wouldn't take in anyone. Therefore, we only have the Golden Dream. The Admiral of Blood's bounty is 42,000 pounds? In terms of strength, he should be a little stronger. Klein immediately gained an understanding. Okay. Okay, now let me copy all of that. Hold on. $42,000. Dude, if Klein could even kill just that guy, I doubt he can, but like if Klein could just kill that guy, he could probably he could easily get through to sequence 5 and start making some decent headway on sequence 4. All right, thanks for popping by, Ark. Have a good night, buddy. We only got another hour anyway, so the VOD won't be too long for you to watch. Do I put this in? I guess I'll put this in the lore section. I don't actually know where else to put this. Klein's not going to kill the Admiral, which kind of sucks. I know he won't, but man, if he could, that'd be dope as fuck. That's generational wealth, true. But he can... But they can only buy like a few. Yeah, well, he can buy all the things he needs for a sequence 5 potion. And then at least start making some headway on the sequence 4. But he definitely can't get him a sequence 4 potion, no shot. Okay. What about his subordinates? Senor has 10 of the strongest men under his command. The first, second, third mates of the flagship and the captain of each ship. Steel Mavetti is the second mate of the flagship. Whoa, he's not even the first mate, he's a second mate? That's crazy. We think he's a sequence 6. His body is like steel and is able to withstand bullets and cannonballs. He isn't afraid of fire, drowning, and various magic. He's strong and fast. He can rip his opponents apart, and he grasps a certain level of undead-related spells. He can summon zombies and rear puppets. Zombie? Klein immediately thought of Merrick. Oh, that is zombie, because Merrick has like really strong skin too. True. Wait, is there any way Klein can get in touch with Sharon? And then ask her to send over that fucking whatever sealed artifact that she has that killed that other zombie? Or werewolf or whatever? And just be like, hey, can I borrow this for like 2 days? I'll give it back and I'll give you some money for it. And just fucking send him to the Shadow Realm. Based on the Wraith's trait of the Admiral of Blood Seigneur, it can be assumed that these pirates are actually part of the outer circle of the Rose School of Thought. Oh, Lunar Scarlet Corona. Thank you, Romero. Or perhaps they're from an organization used to make money. It's a pity that I don't have a messenger, nor did I ask Miss Sharon if she had one. Otherwise, I could contact her and confirm the Admiral of Blood's identity. Damn, he can't contact her. Fuck. He didn't give up, just because this matter might involve the Rose School of Thought. In any case, he could change his fate and identity right after. In addition, he had involved himself with the Aurora Order, the Demoness Sect, Rose Redemption, and the Twilight Hermit Order. So he wasn't afraid of offending another entity. Fuck it. Where you have 5, what's 6? And where you have 6, what's 7 at that point? Fuck it. If he uses that door, there will be no corpse, and no corpse means no bounty. Yes. Oh, I guess. True. But do I have a problem with the prisoner acting method? Like, how do you act as a zombie and werewolf? Also, no goth mommy for you, is? What did I do? Actually, it's not like I've never fought against the Rose School of Thought. I've already killed a Wraith, a zombie, and a Wraith? That can't be right. I assume that means to say werewolf. That's a typo, right? Here it says, I've already killed a Wraith, a zombie, and a Wraith. I think this one should be a werewolf, I think. And I've robbed the Scarlet Lunar Corona and the biological poison bottle. It's unlikely that Mavetti has any particularly strong mystical items, otherwise I wouldn't have been able to escape before. He has a bunch of puppets and zombies by his side, as well as several subordinates at sequence 7 or 8. As a second mate of the flagship, he should be the leader of the crew in the vicinity since he's here. We can consider hunting him first. Below the high sequences, once the number of Beyonders reaches a certain point, a qualitative change will occur. With the combination of different abilities, it's possible for a group to defeat a Beyonder stronger than themselves. It's just like how a Nighthawk team can take down a sequence 6 or even a 5. Klein didn't underestimate Steel Mavetti and his men just because he was stronger with creeping hunger. He was still cautious as before. We have to plan and prepare accordingly. Well, the frequency bands and passcodes I received from the White Shark will come in handy, and Miss Magician's radio transceiver is delivered. I'll get Danitz to frequently monitor the frequency and see if we can glean any information. Back from cleaning up my room. Didn't know why I kept so many boxes of old devices I bought. Oh, I had to do that a while back, Justin. I kept all my boxes from my PlayStation to all my PC building parts, my phone box, and I was like, dude, just get rid of all this. I don't know why the fuck I have this. And I can take advantage of this period to explore the possibility of true acting. Soon, Klein formulated a plan as he continued to listen to Danitz and tell him about the rest of the Admiral's subordinates. After a while, when Danitz was done, he summarized enthusiastically, "If Steel Mavetti can be killed, leaving my name behind, this matter will definitely go on papers. Once it's spread, I no longer need to worry about informing the captain." He was afraid that there was a traitor among their ranks, and the points of contact in the Rorstad archipelago were under the enemy's control. Therefore, he didn't rashly rush to make contact. "He actually has a brain," Klein nodded, and said, "You're in charge of gathering information on all aspects of steel." "All right," Danitz replied. Klein slowly stood up and walked towards the window. It was dark outside with the howling winds and pouring rain. It was like the end of the world had arrived. Klein smiled to himself and said in a low voice, "Tonight, Gehrman joins the hunt. Let's go! My life is complete. Let's go." That was so good. City of Generosity, Bayam, Cathedral of Waves. Alger Wilson, who had received the Sanguine's anesthetic gas, was about to set sail when he was summoned by the local diocese bishop. Alger Wilson, who had received the Sanguine's anesthetic... no, already read this. There have been rumors recently that Vice Admiral's iceberg has received Death's Key. All the pirates in the Sonia Sea are roused by the bishop... Aroused by this, the bishop said in a heavy voice. Investigate this matter, the bishop said. He was an old man with a head full of white hair, but still as energetic as ever. His body was strong, his muscles bulging with his bishop's robe. The wind howled as he breathed, and the air was moist. There are similar rumors every year, but they all end up being fake. Such rumors are commonly spread through the sea. Even if it's true, I don't have the right to be involved. There's no need to take such risks. I'll just go through the motions and skirt the edge on this matter. Yes, Your Excellency. May the storm be with you. Let's say you transmigrate into Lord of the Mysteries and for some reason you choose a prisoner pathway. How will you act as a zombie, werewolf, and wraith? Zombie. I would hire some people to bury me, and then I would break out of the coffin and dig my way up. And then I would do that every day for a week, and I would probably digest the potion in a week. Werewolf. Does a werewolf actually become a werewolf on full moons or no? Because if no, then we're gonna have to do some not so eloquent looking stuff, but stuff will work. Okay. What? I'm not gonna eat brains, Kami. What's the alternative? Howl at the moon. Yes, that's their curse. Okay, well then I just have to wait for like 10 full moons, and then I should just digest it naturally, right? Because then I can bury you for free and not need to pay me. Aw, thank you, Nightwalker. True friend, for real. The bishop was very pleased with Alder's attitude and said, "May the storm be with you." The encouraged Alger quickly left the cathedral and returned to the square outside. The storm last night had subsided, and only the scattered leaves and water puddles on the ground remained as evidence of its coming. After taking a breath of after rain fresh air, Alger decided to visit the few places where the pirates roamed. He planned to put on a show of working hard by seeking out information. If he were to meet a fellow with a bounty of a few £100, he wouldn't mind apprehending the poor bastard. In his opinion, they were liquid cash flow that could be added to his savings. True. Zombie acting method is probably to be near death and come back alive, or resuscitate after death. Nah, just be buried and then just dig your way out. It's not very eloquent, but it'll do the job. Okay. At this rate, I don't know if I can finish 523, but we will try. These chapters are longer than the other ones have been for for sequence 3 or volume 3 so far. Sequence 3, yeah. On the ocean, pirates had 3 iconic common interests: liquor, women, and gambling. Alder merely took out his silver pocket watch, flipped it open, and knew where he should go first. At 11:15, brothels and bars hadn't opened. Only the gambling dens would have gathered a bunch of people who wanted to make a fortune. Alder was more familiar with this port city, with his tiny hometown. He proceeded without stopping at all, and while he navigated his way, smoothly turning at every corner, while he arrived outside a casino that was located inside a secluded alley. Just make other people think you're dead? True. Okay, I was gonna make a joke there, but it's really off the pale, so I won't. According to what he knew, the owner of the casino was a gang leader with a deep background. He had an inexplicable but indistinct connection with the important figures at the Governor General's office. It was the first choice for many pirates to sell their stolen goods. Because of this, pirates often appeared here. They might exchange their loot for gold pounds in the morning, but lose everything at night. Wraith. Go to an abandoned house that just got sold to a family with some young children, and scare the young children at night, and then probably digest it really quickly. Alder pulled on his thick brown coat, pressed his cap, a piece of fashion that came from the mainland, and pushed open the half-closed door, and entered the casino. Casinos were prohibited within the Lone Kingdom. They could only be attached to bars as rooms, but in the kingdom's vast overseas colonies, not only were they legal, but a mainstay industry. Among them, Bayam of the Rorstad Archipelago and Alith of East Balam were the most famous in the area. Nightwalker, you saved yourself with that second message, buddy, or you were gonna get a visit from the FBI. Many tycoons would especially visit them in Backland or Mid-Seashire's coast for a big day of gambling. Surveying the area, Alder saw a variety of card games, as well as dice-derived turntable games. As it was still early, there weren't many gamblers, and Alder quickly scanned them all. His eyes suddenly lit up as he found blazing. Danitz happened to be flipping his cards with his right hand, so he almost jumped out of his skin as a man bent down and whispered into his ear. After he had been targeted by Steel Mavetti, he knew that he shouldn't seek out information with his true appearance, as he could be targeted. Although most pirates weren't strong enough and didn't register as a threat to Danitz, he still didn't want to reveal himself, lest it set back the plans of hunting Steel Mavetti. However, to his surprise, the disguise he took great effort to don and was exposed in just over an hour. He turned his head to see the man who had greeted him. When he saw the signature seaweed-like dark blue hair, Danitz relaxed a little and turned to observe if the other players had heard the greeting. "Why are you here?" Danitz asked. He and Alger had met at a previous private meet, and he knew the other party had a ghost ship and a dozen sailors. He was quite a powerful but unknown fellow. You already passed the point that easy spoil? Yeah, I know that, Romero. The part where Danitz was like, get my money to my parents. Tell them I'm sorry. And Klein was like, okay, tell him. And Klein was like, nah, tell him yourself. Yes, according to Vice Admiral Iceberg's judgment, if such a small and weak pirate crew were able to retain an ancient ghost ship, it means that they were backed by a powerful faction. Perhaps they were members of the Church of Storm, or perhaps they were related to a particular pirate king or secret organization. They usually disguised themselves as ordinary pirates and gathered information for those who were really loyal to. It was easy to wipe any traces of themselves clean at scheduled times, and at times do inconvenient things, and do things inconvenient for the power backing them. For example, silencing others or plundering certain items. Alder sat down and said, I heard your captain obtained the Death's key. I thought you had a brain, but you've disappointed me. How can such a thing be so easily obtainable? We'll sell it to you if you want it and offer a decent price. How about it? Do you want to consider a deal? Perhaps it has other secrets. Maybe someone wants to deal with your captain. Who knows? That thing doesn't seem like a creation made by humans. It might belong to giants or devils. Creation? Your captain still insists on teaching language to you all? Alger said with amusement. The rumor was that the Vice Admiral Iceberg was a woman who was very strict when it came to knowledge. She couldn't stand the sight of a bunch of illiterates. So every day on the Golden Dream, there was a class of general knowledge and reading, and she forced her crew to take turns participating. Oh my god, good for her. Wait, write what down? Oh, if such a small and weak pirate crew? Oh, the Alger's boat part, I guess? Oh, the death key? But I actually like Vice Admiral Iceberg now. That is cool. Like, she was like, "Hey, listen, like if you're gonna be part of my crew, I can't have you be dumb, okay? I need you to be able to do like basic stuff." So we're gonna do some classes. Good for her. Okay, in the notes. Guess Aduina's pathway? Aduina seems to clearly be someone who loves knowledge, so maybe reader? Wishing he could forget, Danitz said, it's much more difficult than fighting. Because of this, we're usually unable to recruit enough members. Every time we dock at the port to resupply, there will be a person who resigns. There will be people who resign. He didn't continue with the topic, and instead looked at the dealer and said to himself, help me keep an eye out for Steel's whereabouts. Steel Mavetti? Were you attacked? For the key? His brain has already been eaten by his zombies, Danitz stressed. You want revenge on him? Alger guessed. Danitz smiled without a reply, as if he was concentrating on his new hidden cards. Alger thought for a moment before saying, the last time your captain appeared was a week ago, near Sonia Island. This was confirmed by a telegram. The Golden Dream wouldn't arrive in Bayam that quickly. Do you have a new helper? If it's just you, then you aren't a match for Steel, even if he was alone. And as you know, he's always attended to by a crowd. Towards Alger's question, Danitz's response was to throw out a chip. Call. Who is it? Alger assumed. You wouldn't know. I wouldn't know? Someone who has the strength to deal with Steel Mavetti? And unless they belong to a specific secret organization or it's their first time on sea, why wouldn't I know them? Of course, it's also possible that Danitz doesn't want to answer for fear of exposing a secret. That's most probable. Someone belonging to a particular organization? First time traveling the sea with the strength to deal with Steel Mavetti? He tapped the edge of the table and asked, was Banshee Harbor fun? How did you know? Danitz turned his head. He believed that the Church of Storm's style, it was impossible for it to air dirty linen. Furthermore, the passengers of the White Gate just arrived last night. The people who witnessed it all signed confidentiality agreements, so how could the news spread so quickly? Alder smiled without answering. It was no big deal. There was a revival of some ancient custom that led to the fall of a storm bishop, Danitz answered. As expected. Alder chuckled and said, I'll keep an eye out for Steel, but how do I contact you? 15 Amherst Street is an unoccupied house. Write the information and throw it in. Don't forget my payment. Danitz, Alger said. Following the captain of the ghost ship depart, Danitz couldn't help but grumble. So apparently ghost ships are really rare, I guess, huh? They're not just normal. I would have thought like ghost ships are pretty common, but like they were like, hey, like a small crew has a ghost ship? That's crazy. That's interesting. Nagito is bullying me again? Wait, guess... Oh, wait, there was no that was no spoiler. That was fine. Hold on. Watching the captain of the ghost ship depart, Danitz couldn't help but grumble. This fellow isn't bad. However, I need to leave this place too. He couldn't quite trust Alger. Perhaps in a few minutes, he might lead Steel Mavetti and his pirates to rush over. After leaving the casino, Alger, who was wearing a pair of local baggy pantaloons, strolled down the street, entered a department store and found a counter, and said, "Give me a deck of tarot cards." While he was waiting, he leisurely thought of a question. What is the blessed of Mr. Fool doing this time? Alder is very clever. In Old John's restaurant, Klein watched as the waiter placed a plate of grilled fish in front of him. It was wrapped with something that looked like straws and covered in all sorts of spices, some of which he didn't recognize. The strong aroma seeped into Klein's nose and greatly enhanced his salivation. Or his salivation. Big brain, true. I sensed that she was going to spoil after it. Okay, see that? See, if we started timing people out on that or giving people grief on that, now we would be proving username right. That would actually be some 1984 shit. Like, hey, based on your past behaviors, we think you're going to commit another crime, so right to jail. That is some 1984 shit, okay? As expected of the Spice Archipelago, just as Klein was about to pick up his knife and fork, he saw two things resembling tree branches on his plate. Chopsticks? Klein was shocked. Then he locked onto a suspect, Roselle Gustave. This is the kind of cutlery you have to use when eating grilled stickleback. It's said that Emperor Roselle gained inspiration from the custom of the elves. Custom of the elves. They are indeed a race that likes cooking and eating delicacies, or just an excuse that Roselle came up with. In the morning, he had gone to a few church hospitals in Bayam to provide hospice care for some dying people, to help them fulfill their wishes and to engage in a deeper level of acting, but failed to find a suitable target. Dude, he was actually using dying people as like as help for digesting his potion. That is crazy. This wasn't to say no one died in the hospital, but rather they all had relatives who were either accompanying them or had witnessed their death. There was no possibility of disguising himself as the deceased apart from giving people a fright. I'll head to the bar when adventurers gather. There should be many foreigners who might die in a dark alley like stray dogs in order to pursue wealth at sea, while their families may never hear of them again. Jesus Christ. Okay, so I guess it suffice it to say, Dr. Z, your vote cannot be bought by $10 by Nagato, I guess. Okay, I think this will probably be the last one. I don't allow slander on my stream from you. What was the message? Okay. Okay, Romero. The quality of the meat was certainly not as good as that of Murloc meat, but the spices synergized to form clear layered flavors, which Klein was rather delighted to have tasted. Actually, there are some local Beyonders who wish to leave this dangerous circle and live a normal life. It's completely possible for them to head to Backland and open a Rorstead cuisine restaurant. With the city's acceptance for many things, their business definitely wouldn't be bad. The only problem is that many spices aren't as cheap as they are here. The cost would be very high. In his view, commoners were unable to find the means to get rich, mostly because they didn't have enough vision. However, one's vision was limited by the education they received and their daily experiences. See, that's really small. Then you should change stream title. Already did, Romero. Romero's bullying me? For you the price is 100. See, even this is like, it has such a strong anti-capitalist tinge to it. Like, this, like, you know, commoners were unable to find the means to get rich because they didn't have enough vision. Vision is limited by education and daily experiences, bound by social class. Like, this is so, and I'm not saying anti-capitalist in a bad way. I want to be clear. I'm just saying, like, literally is what it is. Like someone commented on one of my videos recently. Hold on, or maybe one of the VODs. I can't remember. There's a comment that I was reading that I thought was really cool. Or sorry, I guess this was technically Easy's. The video Easy posted with our conversation. Like, I thought this was cool. I think there might be some cultural differences in such as varying levels of focus on capitalism. In China, the ending of Volume 2 is one of the most beloved for many readers. Western audiences might be more interested in world building, plot sequences, and actions, yet Volume 2 masterfully carves out the best and worst of background and vividly decapitating the lives of the underclass, middle class, and ruling class. Funerals and comings-of-age ceremonies, the death of the old generation of working class and the arrival of the new, Klein's departure and arrival of Melissa and her brother, birth and death, cruelty and hope, all unfound at the new year. It's a powerfully cinematic montage. Don't read spoilers? Okay, well, too fucking late now. And what resonates most isn't the line, it was the best of times, it was the worst of times, but rather, he was a worker. He had tried to live his best. Volume 2 embodies what makes LOTM special. It's not just telling one person's story, but conveying a richly layered world, expressing a profound, theme-driven, humanistic texture. That's really interesting. Like I didn't actually consider it in that sense. I was like, oh, that might actually be Like, that might actually be true. It's like, thematically for me, I was like, I didn't like it as much as Volume 1 ending. And then when he put it like that, I was like, oh, maybe he's actually right. Like, I'll have to spend some more time considering it, but that's actually a really good point. I'm just about finished making the video for the ending of Volume 1. It should be posted tomorrow. The video's basically ready. I still need to do all the thumbnail and titles and all that shit. So that should be uploaded tomorrow. But after that's done, I might actually start making a similar video for the ending of Volume 2. That might be cool. I'm gonna like his comment, but it doesn't actually mean anything because it's not my video. Hold on. Oh, sorry. Okay. Okay. When they disable comments, true. I don't actually, yeah, I don't ever do that. That's some cowardly shit. If I'm getting hit with some mean comments, then fuck it, dude. I get hit with some mean comments. Klein spent 2 sola and 5 pence for the meal, which wasn't cheap, but he had always been willing to spend money on good food. Besides, his main expenses had been paid for by Danitz recently. The natives of the Rorstad archipelago had darker skin than the people of the southern kingdom. It was close to the kind of bronze which was often the result of skin exposure to the sun. Their hair was mostly dark and naturally curled ever so slightly. It had been less than 50 years since the place had been completely colonized. At first, Lone had worked with the local kings and chieftains under the name of the Central Sonia Company to extract economic benefits, but later, the management of the company quickly fell into a corruption as they fought for power, even provoking the enemy for personal gain by starting a war. Even what was even more absurd was that they would report each other, claiming their competitors had received bribes. With regards to this, they would find a member of parliament backing them, and during parliamentary hearings they would attack each other. The natives would never have imagined that a powerful figure who could make their kings and chieftains bend over, kiss the soles of their shoes, and deliver carts and carts of gifts were actually unimportant people who weren't even members of parliament in Backland. Although most of them came from noble families, they were at the end of the line of any inheritance rights. Bro is the maid and the wallet. True. He's folding his clothes and then paying him for that privilege, which is crazy. Please don't scare off newcomers thinking they're me. Okay, sounds good, Dr. Z. But if this is all a big ploy so that you do come into a new stream and we don't recognize it's you, that account is getting banned. Okay, so just watch yourself, Dr. Z. Also makes the anti-capitalist stuff at Bayam make more sense because it's the quality of the higher ups, so I would rather them not be capitalistic. Oh, true. It'll be at night, Nagito, so either in like 7.5 or 8.5 hours. It just depends when Easy ends stream. If he ends stream by like 9ish, before 9ish my time, then I'll stream at 10 my time. If he streams after, then I'll stream at 11. I'll give you guys a heads up on the Discord either way. So it'll be in 7.5 or 8.5 hours. As the policeman saw Klein in his double-breasted frock coat, top hat, and black civilized cane, he immediately put away his baton, straightened up, and saluted. "Good afternoon, sir. How may I help you?" "Are there no carriages here?" "According to regulations of the Governor General's offices, carriages aren't allowed to enter this street. You'll have to walk to the street ahead." "Thank you. You speak good, Loanese." I think that this is an essential quality that a good policeman should possess." He originally wanted to say that he felt that he was too Loanese, but he felt the gentleman across from him would end up angry. Along the way, he saw local style of clothing was different than that of the mainland cities such as Backland and Tingen. It was even different from the ports such as Demir and Bansi. A decent man from Lone, dressed in a formal suit, wearing a top hat and tie, holding onto a cane. This made people around him subservient, afraid to look him in the eye or touch him. The rest of the natives or mixed bloods liked matching a thick jacket with baggy pants, along with a cap from the mainland. They didn't like black, and they preferred the colors brown, tan, and light gray. To Klein, this was indeed strange. Of course, the natives of the higher standing and those of mixed bloods also mimicked the dressing styles of Lone, believing it a sign of civilization. That's so sad. Swordfish Bar, an accepted gathering spot for adventurers. There aren't many customers, so Klein made his way through the tables to the bar. He discovered what was different from other places was that there were 3 blackboards on the side that were supported by wooden shelves. Sitting on them were yellowing notices with a variety of content, strange and varied. Some were hiring bodyguards, some were seeking help in finding people. Others were investigating situations on a particular island and offering a high reward for a particular pirate. Others claimed that they had obtained a treasure map and wanted to form a team. A glass of Zarhar, Klein tapped on the bar counter. It was a local malt beer, cheap, tasty, and a unique taste. It was something Klein learned from Danitz. 3 pence. The bartender glanced at the customer. With a beer in hand, Klein sat in a high chair in front of the bar, sipping bit by bit as he listened to the drinkers around him. After nearly an hour, the number of people in the bar increased, and Klein finally heard something useful. "I always thought there were 4 people sitting at a table less than 3 meters away. They were feeling sorry for a man named Wendit. I always thought Wendit was out at sea. I didn't expect him to be at home. He's very sick." Oh my god, he's gonna visit Wendit and then maybe replace him. And then try to get some faceless points. Based. If I had knocked on his door 2 days ago, he wouldn't have died. You don't know. Oh, he's dead. And you don't know how terrifying the room was. Mushrooms were growing on his body in huge swaths of white. Shut up! Can't you see I'm eating? Yes, yes. Wendit's room was filled with bugs, moths, flies, butterflies, bees, and cockroaches. Holy Lord of Storm, I couldn't believe this was a place where a human lived. Even the police who came were stunned. What the fuck is up with mushrooms in this world? Who the fuck spawns mushrooms? As the conversation passed through Klein's ear, he frowned, feeling that Wendit's death wasn't normal. Just a few days after his death, the corpse was already filled with mushrooms, and insects were crawling everywhere? Sounds beyond related. Such an anomaly, the place should definitely report it to the Punisher's team. It seems like it happened 3 or 4 days ago. The things that needed to be taken care of should have already been dealt with. At the very least, the man called Wendit was a lone adventurer in Bayam. None of his peers wished to help him transmit the news of his death. After listening for a while, he gained a rough idea of where Wendit lived. It was at the nearby 47 Blackhorn Street. After finishing his drink, Klein put on his hat and left the bar and headed for the apartments. After closing the door, he muttered to himself, the room that recently had someone die in. Repeated the divination statement 7 times and used the cane to quickly arrive outside the room where Wendit lived. It hasn't been rented out yet, and the anomaly inside has already been dealt with. There seems to be nothing wrong. Klein put away the note he had used to open the door, locked the door behind him, and walked around carefully. After confirming the situation, he took out extract, essential oils, herbs, powders, and other special candles. He quickly set up a spirit channeling ritual in front of the bed. Although it had been several days, making it only possible for him to obtain the most superficial, disjointed, remaining bits of information, Klein felt it was better than nothing. Without a doubt, he prayed to himself and entered above the grey fog, and responded to himself to channel this the power of the spirit. Good lord. The flame of the candle suddenly soared, tinged with a ghostly blue as it swayed. Hey, Easy, how's it going, man? Klein only felt everything fall silent, as if he had entered a realm that didn't belong to reality. His pupils were completely black, and even the whites of the eyes had been expelled. He no longer needed to use the technique of dream divination, having advanced to faceless, with the help of the grey fog that made his initial entry into the real world. He was about to directly see the lingering spirituality of Wendit, a will that refused to dissipate. A will that refused to dissipate. Oh, the will's hanging on for some reason. Ayo, slow down, you're at 522? Yes, I am, Easy. Alright. Yes, I am. I should be at like 5:30 by the end of today. Hopefully. Although I'm reading a lot slower than normal the last couple of days, as Nagito keeps reminding me. There were 3 scenes. One was a bit of a tall, thin, dark, curly-haired, sharp, featured Wendit came to the body of a discarded corpse, astonished to see a glimmer from it before it condensed into a green gem filled with an aura of vitality. The second scene was of Wendit lying on the bed with his eyes closed, his mouth slightly open. Did he cry? What do you think of me? Because I didn't. His skin was covered with mushrooms of all kinds. The surrounding cockroaches and moths piled on top of each other, and on his chest, a silver necklace embedded with the same green gem from before. The third scene was that of a pretty girl with flaxen-haired color, sitting at the edge of her eyes slightly moist. Lingering around was Wendit's reluctant voice. "Rain, I'm about to die. I'm really sorry. Sorry that I never told you I loved you. I wanted you to marry me." This picture shattered, and the channeling spirit came to an end. Klein looked around and saw that the house was still dark and gloomy. This fellow is truly unlucky, Klein shook his head and sighed. He already had a rough idea of what caused Wendit's death. His random act of picking up something. The vast majority of Beyonders didn't know about the law of Beyonder characteristic conservation and indestructibility, and they had never thought that the deceased of their kind would be able to release a characteristic that would become an ingredient. As this process was relatively slow, it was easy for them to be missed. Therefore, after killing a Beyonder, they would usually search the corpse and throw it away, making passerbys like Wendit to look out, or some other creatures at the bottom of the sea or wilderness. Wendit didn't know that it was a Beyonder characteristic and had thought it was a magical gem. Thus he made a necklace and kept it close to his body, and it was slowly corrupted by its influence and died in agony. It has everything you need in this area, and nearly laughed myself to death when doing this research. Sorry, there's a... It has everything you need in this area. Wait, sorry, there's an author's note. I just want to see what it's referring to. This is what the British East India Company did in India. As expected of a bureaucratic empire, it has everything you need in this area. I nearly laughed myself to death when doing the research. Where's the footnote? Oh. During the parliamentary hearings, they would attack each other, something that nearly resulted in suits. Even what was more absurd was they would report each other. Competitors had okay, hold on. First, Lone had worked with local kings and chieftains under the name of the Central Sonias to extract economic benefit. Okay, that is what the East India Company did, from my understanding. The management of the company quickly fell into corruption as they fought over for power, even provoking the enemy for personal benefits and starting a war. And what was even more absurd was that they would report each other. Oh, that is funny. Remember how even potions left in bottles would be absorbed? But yeah, no, that makes sense. The characteristic bit by bit started imparting its spirituality onto the person, onto the person that was wearing it, and Wendit was not ready for that and just straight up fucking got nuked. I know a way Klein can digest a potion, become dead prince, and go to Trissy as What? That is actually not a horrible idea, actually. But he needs to find where Trissy is. Okay. All right, guys. I think we'll leave it there. I only have like 10 minutes, so fuck it. I'm not gonna do the art right now. We'll do the art at the end of next stream. We'll just do all of it together. We'll end it there. I'll see you guys for the night stream in a little bit. Now we'll do art later, guys. I'll see you guys in a couple hours for the night stream. That's it. Thank you, everyone. Have a great rest of your day or nights. I'll see you guys in a bit. Thanks, everyone.